Trunks temporarily got to return home. It doesn't seem like he could return fully at the moment, but he's at least got closure and knows that it's safe. Now back in the present timeline, where do we go from here? We'll cover all that and more in this 5th part of What If Trunks Was Trapped in the Past. While Trunks is his main rival and main focus, Beerus does visit Earth from time to time just to try some food there. Trunks had brought some occasionally, and of course Beerus is interested. He never got to visit in the first place. Trunks did mention Capsule Corp had some great chefs too. So naturally Beerus is curious and goes there. This also leads to Vegeta realizing that Trunks is training under Beerus, filling him with immense terror. Does Trunks realize who that is? Yeah, he's a Kai, he knows who Beerus is. He knows the risk and everything. Vegeta's still terrified based on what he remembers from Beerus as a kid. But then he comes to see an opportunity here. Trunks has apparently grown a lot. Vegeta even does get to test out his power, and of course Trunks is way above him in terms of strength. So Vegeta starts singing a different tune. Instead of being terrified of Beerus, now he wants to train under Beerus. Not realizing it's Whis doing most of the training, but point being, he wants that. So he begins making his case to Beerus, trying to get him to take him under his wing to become a god. And thankfully it doesn't take much convincing. Beerus actually is pretty casual about it, and he accepts the offer. He knows Vegeta's pretty powerful as is, at least by mortal standards. Not on Trunks' level, and not nearly on his level, but still. Trunks is his son after all, and Vegeta should have similar potential. Plus, Beerus is still unsure if he should actually have Trunks as a rival because he's not from this timeline, and he knows Trunks is eventually trying to return back. He doubts that's ever going to happen, but still, it's better to have a backup. Especially because it might not be proper in the first place to have someone from a different timeline as his rival. He's basically overlooking the whole time travel thing, even if he's a Kai now. Plus, there's the fact that he's a Kai too. Trunks has other commitments, and because of all the context around Trunks being here in the first place, yeah, maybe it's good if Beerus has another rival. It can't hurt to have two, after all. But still, it's worth remembering, even though Trunks does want to return to his old home, even if he fully becomes a Kai and gets those time travel privileges, he can't just go as frequently as he wants to. He's forbidden from that. He's lucky that he got to go in the first place. But thanks to Beerus actually taking Vegeta under his wing now, Trunks also gets to go back to Shin, resuming his Kai training. And Vegeta already has a new goal in mind. He's going to achieve that same pink-haired form Trunks has. Not realizing that this is pretty much impossible for him, but he can't get something else in its place. Of course, this leaves Goku and his family on Earth. Goku doesn't even realize that Vegeta's left until Bulma eventually tells him. And he never actually got to meet Beerus. He just hears Vegeta's training under some god, and yeah, that's cool and all, but he knows King Kai. And from what he saw of the Supreme Kai, he wasn't really too strong. Not that he's underestimating what the gods could teach, but rather, he doesn't really care too much because he has that for himself, and he doesn't realize the scope of a god that Vegeta's working with. Interesting, but he doesn't feel like he needs to catch up. He should be fine. Especially because his own training is going well. He's working with Gohan and Goten more too. Eventually we do arrive to a point when Frieza gets revived, with everyone on Earth noticing that someone summoned Shenron. Frieza then eventually comes to Earth ready to get his revenge. This time he's met by pretty much the same crew. Although Goku's there, of course, with Gohan, and Goten as well, with Trunks coming along too. And Frieza doesn't realize it at first, but he looks over at Trunks and sees that that's the same guy who killed him. At least, he looks like that. Maybe it's the son of that guy who killed him. He still doesn't know who exactly killed him before, although he knows most of his anger is directed at Goku too. And he could clearly see that Goten's related to Goku. He had another kid? Also, where the hell's Vegeta? He would have loved to kill him as well. But if he can't now, then he'll do that later. The entire Frieza force is defeated, as Goku's the first one to actually face Frieza, telling him to get it over with and just go into his final form. Goku does note that Frieza's final form seems to be stronger than before, and of course Goku's weaker than normal Ki, without Godly Ki and that training that he got under Whis. But still, he was pretty constantly training, so even though he's falling behind a bit, even with Frieza being stronger, he just fights him in Super Saiyan instead of base, struggling with that and then going to Super Saiyan 2 and pretty easily winning. So, Frieza then shows off his new form, transforming into Golden Frieza. Now this is kind of an issue. Goku fully powers up into Super Saiyan 3. This is something he's been working with for a while, but he never really got a full control of. One thing he started to do with it is trying to switch into it, like he fights in Super Saiyan 2, but when he attacks he uses Super Saiyan 3. That at least mitigates some of the issues that come alongside it. But still, it's not like this is going to be enough to defeat Frieza. Thankfully, he has help. Gohan, Goten, and Trunks are all there too. Kid Trunks, of course. The four of them all fight Frieza together, and slowly Goku comes to see that Frieza's being worn down. He could easily kill all of them right now, but he's having fun, and that's really good. If they could stall him for a little bit longer, and then hit him with a surprise attack, they could win here. Collectively, he's stronger than all of them, but he's losing steam. And he does have a reason to be confident. He hasn't gone beyond Super Saiyan 3 at all, although he's definitely working on that. But the amount of time he spent with Super Saiyan 3 makes him pretty strong here. And there's also another factor that helps out here, and something that Frieza doesn't know. Goku's not the only one with Super Saiyan 3. Gohan and Goten have it as well, with Trunks on the cusp of it. Trunks is a little bummed out because he's been ahead of Goten for so long, and now Goten's able to pull ahead, mainly because Vegeta and future Trunks left Earth. So he's had to start training with Goten and Gohan more, having Goku as a teacher for a bit. And this is what they use to their advantage. Goku tries to wear Frieza out as much as possible, just waiting for him to lose more steam. and then he sees an opening. At the very last second, Goku, Gohan, and Goten transform into Super Saiyan 3, launching a Kamehameha with Trunks also getting involved. Frieza's guard is lowered and so is his stamina, and they are able to get one good shot in at him. The blast does deal a significant amount of damage, but he does survive it. If he took another one of those, he probably would have died. But still, he's alive and has the advantage. Plus, he knows to expect another one of those, so he decides to end this here. He lifts a finger up in the air, ready to just blow up the planet. But then he feels something stab through his chest. Looking down to see a sword piercing through it, he looks behind him and sees that same face from before, the Super Saiyan who killed him. Trunks then rapidly swings his sword, slicing Frieza the exact same way he did beforehand. The anger Frieza feels is unmeasurable, but it's not like he could do anything. He's cut into pieces, and killed by the same burning attack from before. For the second time in a row, his final vision is Trunks killing him. It's a good thing he was able to get here so quick, thanks to being able to teleport. He didn't want to intervene, but he was watching and was hoping that they'd be able to handle this themselves. He only came in because he wanted to be really sure that Earth was safe. And Goku thanks him for that. He would have loved to just finish Frieza himself, but still, it's better to have Trunks here and save the day. He didn't realize Frieza got that strong, especially in such a short period of time. It looks like Goku really needs to step up his training, and it makes him wonder exactly what Vegeta's up to. He's then filled in by Trunks, and instantly, he realizes he needs to go see Beerus. He didn't realize Beerus was that strong, nor did he realize Trunks had gotten that strong recently. Vegeta's probably so far ahead of him by now, so as soon as possible, Goku wants to go to Beerus. Here, we fast forward a bit. Vegeta eventually gets word of what happened on Earth, and he hears about Goku defending against Frieza. While he's glad he's finally way ahead of Kakarot, still, he's pretty pissed off that he didn't get the opportunity to kill Frieza. But Trunks did, so that's at least nice. Beerus hearing about this gets him a little bit interested in Goku too, because while Vegeta's stronger right now, Goku's current strength just as immortal is way higher than what Vegeta's was when Beerus first found him. And when Beerus eventually goes to Earth again, Goku offers him a bunch of great food, with Trunks telling him to do this. It should work out. And he's able to get a spot on Beerus' planet. That now leads us to the Universe 6 tournament, which eventually gets set up pretty much in the same way. Right off the bat, they already have a roster for Team Universe 7, and we'll list them off from strongest to weakest. At the top is Trunks. There's a pretty sizable gap leading to Vegeta, and then another sizable gap leading to Goku, a smaller gap between him and Gohan, and then behind that is Goten, although he and Trunks do rock, paper, scissors to decide who goes into the tournament. And Trunks actually wins. Trunks and Goten are pretty close in strength. Goten is technically the stronger one with Super Saiyan 3, but Trunks is also the more experienced one. All around, he's the better fighter. Not that it matters though, because neither of them would get the chance to fight. Goku goes up first, and he has pretty much the same performance as normal. He's starting off weaker, so it's a bit tougher for him, but still, not an issue. Eventually losing to Frost Poison. Vegeta's then the next one up, and he gladly defeats Frost. Going through his matches pretty much the same way up to Hit. Against Hit, he's able to showcase his newest power, Super Saiyan Blue. Weirdly enough, he's gotten two separate forms, Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue. It's really strange because Trunks just got Super Saiyan Rose. He never had to get a God form, and he never even trained under Beerus. He just got this, so they're not really too sure why that is. And by this point, Goku's close to getting Super Saiyan God. So once he unlocks his own God form, that'll really give him the answers. What they don't realize is that Trunks has the exclusive form. Super Saiyan Rose applies to him due to him being a Kai. That's just his divine version of Super Saiyan, essentially. Exactly how it worked for Goku Black in the anime. So even though Vegeta is excited to show off Super Saiyan Blue, and it does pretty well, he doesn't win against Hit. Trunks is up next, using Super Saiyan Rose against him. It is a pretty tough battle. Trunks is a great fighter, and he has a ton of great abilities here, especially after training with the Kais. He can't fight with his sword, but he's able to actually create weapons out of Ki now, which is really great. And he uses this a lot in battle to help him. Plus, he utilizes the Kai really quickly to just teleport around the ring, and basically pre-programs it. He doesn't find a way to counter Hit's time skip right away, so instead, he tries to predict what Hit's gonna do, and then just teleports away from that. So while Hit does skip time, Trunks preemptively prepares to teleport around the ring, allowing him to at least instantly dodge the attacks. In terms of raw power, I'd say Trunks does overpower Hit here, but Hit definitely has a huge advantage in terms of skill. So it's a pretty tough fought battle, but Trunks is able to eventually take him out of the ring. The way he does this is by encasing Hit in Kachi, which he could easily break out of, but he didn't expect this right away. So it catches him off guard and keeps him in place for a bit, which is just enough time for Trunks to charge an attack and push him out of the ring. So, Universe 7 wins, Beerus makes the same wish, it's a happy ending. Plus, Vegeta actually got to train Kappa this time, which is also a plus for him. Kid Trunks is a little bummed he didn't get to fight, but Goten's pretty happy about that. He didn't miss out on anything here. Following this tournament, of course, Zamasu and Gowasu see this on GodTube. And this is going to lead to a very different series of events. So, Trunks obviously traveled through time. Other gods are hearing about him and realize that he's not supposed to be here. He's a mortal who messed with time. But despite this huge breach of galactic law, a lot of the other gods just really don't care. First of all, Zeno actually showed up at the tournament and said, yeah, he knows about Trunks, and he doesn't really care. Trunks is strong and that interests him. The match between him and Hit was really interesting. Normally he'd erase someone like that, if Trunks were boring. But he interests Zeno, so Zeno lets it slide. So because Zeno lets it slide, the other gods don't really care. Plus, Trunks has been doing a bunch of good things, and he's kind of been punished. He's stuck here in this timeline. And as discussed in the last part, while Trunks did break galactic law and travel through time, now he's basically assigned to this timeline, so he has to stay here. It's not like he has a choice of going back. So through a combination of things, a lot of the gods largely don't care. He's paid the price for it and has done good for his universe, and Zeno seems to overlook it. Except one person cares. Zamasu. He learns more of the story of Trunks, and it does anger him. Eventually he actually gets to meet Trunks too, during a time when Zamasu and Kibito are sparring. Kibito brings Trunks along. Shin too. Thankfully Trunks leaves a much better impression than Goku did. Trunks is very respectful. Also, he's actually a Kai here. Zamasu doesn't agree with that, he shouldn't really be a Kai. But seeing Trunks face to face kinda changes his mind. He's still angered, but Trunks is really respectful of gods and seems remorseful for traveling through time. Zamasu even presses him about it, which creates an awkward conversation, but Trunks gives him good answers, saying that he realizes his mistake. And that's the exact reason he wants to become a Kai. He wants to make up for that. Zamasu still isn't very fond of him, but Trunks makes a way better impression than Goku did, which is pretty important here. And thankfully the rest of the tournament was pretty overshadowed by Trunks fighting Hit. So while Vegeta was using godly powers, Zamasu didn't actually see that. He only saw Trunks against Hit, and Trunks was using godly powers, but he's actually a god here. At least in terms of his position. So in Zamasu's eyes, that's not really an issue, even though he doesn't agree with it. His feelings are more mixed on this, but he's not going to turn evil over it. Still, his view on this is pretty volatile, but at least for now he has no reason to really act on it, thus sort of avoiding this arc. Zamasu still acts weird though. So I guess that leads us to another little time skip, going to the Tournament of Power. Zeno at the Universe 6 tournament said that he wanted to have another one of these eventually. So at some point another tournament is planned. This time it's going to be different though. A battle royale between 8 universes with 10 people on each team. Thankfully here Universe 7 doesn't really have too much of an issue making a team. Actually, I think it would be pretty much the same. And they have more options if anything. Although we can swap some people around. Of course there's no Frieza here and he's just replaced by Trunks. I'd also say instead of Roshi we could have Kid Trunks. And since they're not as desperate to try and recruit everybody, Android 18's probably on the team, but since they don't really know Android 17, just to make it easier, they have Goten on the team instead. He's definitely not the most experienced fighter, but still way more experienced than normal. And also importantly, stronger than normal. Outside of those 3 replacements, everyone else on the team is the same. But we'll be seeing more of the tournament in the next part. This is where we'll leave off for now. What do you guys think about this part, and what's going to happen next time? Leave your thoughts and ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you guys think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel and shows me you want to see more videos like this. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.